So today's video is going to be a discussion video about a topic that has kind of divided the community in Guardian Tales. And the topic at hand is about the change in art direction the game seems to be taking, or to be more direct, the growth in the ladies' bust sizes, and to a lesser extent, the male to female hero ratio. Now I don't think Switch players are going to be affected by this, and you will come to understand why in a bit, but the recent match that lit the fire also contains spoilers for Switch players. So that's why I didn't come out and talk about it while the topic was still trending on Reddit. But I want to do that now, not to light the fire again, but just to give my opinion and start expanding my GT content to be more than just guide videos. So let's start with some background context. Switch players might not be aware of this, but Guardian Tales actually has two art styles you can select from. The original art style was Korean, but when the game launched in Japan, they redid all the character art to be more anime, and what I will refer to as the JP style. Now by default, the Switch is set to the JP style, so unless you choose to change it by using the little button in the corner on the character page, you probably wouldn't even know about it. On mobile, outside of Japan, the Korean art is both the default and the original style. So now let's get to the problem. When JP released, they came with their own set of art as we have established, and Karina went from this to this. Green Marie went from this to this. Lynn went from this to this. And the list goes on for most of the original heroes. You can go and check them out yourself. Now as you can see from the examples I've shared, there is clearly a change in art style. Art is subjective, so I won't say one is better than the other. I myself like a mixture of the two art styles. For example, Lavi is one of my favorite characters and I love her JP art way more than the original Korean art. Whereas for Lynn, I like her Korean art way more than the JP art. But this is where the controversy starts, and we will use Karina for this, as a future change to her is what lit the most recent controversial fire. There is a huge change, mostly in one area on Karina that is divided the community, and it isn't the number of roses in her hair. Karina's bust size has expanded to maybe around 7 times the original size. And to add to that, her clothes were altered to highlight this even more. And as this is art, it has done what art is supposed to do and create differing opinions. Some people like the Korean art, while others like the JP art. In this situation though, the game gave us choice. We had the freedom to choose our preferred art style. Recently though, the art direction has started to converge and the Korean art is now looking more and more like the JP art. Most of the recently released characters on mobile all have the JP characteristics, and right at the front of that is the extra large bust size. Now not all the recent characters are like that, and I would call out a few of them if I wasn't trying to keep the spoilers light for my Switch audience. But the fact remains that even OG characters aren't being left out of this JP art convergence. Now I have a few thoughts on why this is happening. For starters, I do believe that going forward, Guardian Tales does not want to keep creating two distinct art styles for each character they release. This obviously costs a lot of money, so I do believe they are going to default to one art style and the original Korean style will just be preserved as a legacy style. Speaking of money, I do believe that this is the reason the JP art style is becoming the default. JP tends to spend more money on gachas, and I do believe Japan is the region where GT probably makes the most money, as they also have official merch being sold for the game there. You can see my video on how to get some above. The Switch version, which is the most recent release of the game, has also defaulted to the JP art style, so I do believe this will be the overall choice going forward. While it does kind of suck, we have to remember that art is subjective, and while we were spoiled in the beginning with the ability to choose our preferred style, with that option disappearing, we either have to take it as it is now or leave. And I really hope it doesn't push too many people away, as GT is still an amazing game. Now I'm going to keep the male to female hero portion of this video quite short. The developers already came out and said that female characters sell more than male characters, and the developers of Guardian Tales need to make more money if we expect to keep getting content. They also said that in order for male characters to sell, they usually have to make them overpowered, which isn't an ideal compromise if you ask me. But I can sum up this whole debate on the male to female hero ratio in one popular phrase: sex sells. For my personal feelings on the male versus female hero ratio, as long as it doesn't jeopardize the current story trajectory, they can make as many females as they want. And I want to take this chance to commend them on something I think they do a good job at, and that is race representation. I'll leave that there. Anyways, I think that's it for this discussion video. What are your thoughts on this controversy? Would you like to see more of these style videos? Let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, I thank you for listening to the entire thing. Unless you skip to the end, but either ways, thank you, and until next time, my name is Kujets and you can expect more Guardian Tales videos in the future.